What weird flex are you proud of? My lack of knowledge about pop music from this century. I'm 29 and get a lot of shit from friends because if you put on any kind of pop song, especially from the last 10 years, I usually can't tell you who it's by. I'm actually quite proud of it though. I don't listen to that sort of music because I tend to not enjoy it. Secretly think it's kind of lazy to just listen to what everyone else is listening to. And feel proud that I go out and find the music I actually like, even if no one else I know cares for it. I haven't read a book cover to cover since second grade. For year college degree here. Cool story bros. Sometimes the response vibe I'll get. It's not meant to be like reading is for nerds, I'm too cool for that. It's just that looking back, I wish I got more into it and I am impressed with myself, disappointed with the school systems for allowing that to go unchecked. I would just skim specifically to find answers to worksheets, use Cliff Notes, Sparnets, or ask friends. Pretty much my whole life. My first physical therapist called me weirdly flexible. I had trouble finding exercises that actually felt like stretching to me. My second one was confusing that a knee causing me so much pain had such a good range of movement. Until I showed her the other one, lol. I also scared my second physical therapist by rolling off the table back first only to land on my feet. I did it on purpose because it would have hurt more trying to sit up or roll the other way. I did it again just to laugh. Went to my friend's family's house for Easter Sunday. Her brother, younger cousin were there. We were all taking turns playing Fortnite. I smoked them all when it was my turn after playing down my skills the whole time, lol. Shout out to having a shitty boyfriend who would make you play duos with him and then yell at you whenever you die, haha. Edit, he was not shitty for Fortnite. I don't mind the game tbh. Just that his yelling at me all the time taught me to do better under pressure. I work with a large number of laptops, all the same brand. As soon as I pick up a charger, I can tell if it's OEM or third party. They're identical in size and shape, but the knockoffs weigh about an ounce less. One of my co-workers can do the same thing. Similarly, when my son was working a food service job, he could accurately estimate weights of common ingredients just by holding them. When you deal with something non-stop for years, you begin to get a feel for things like that. I achieved everything in my life I wanted so far. I knew which university I wanted to go at age 13. Graduated high school with really good grades, went to the university I wanted to, and after I wanted to take a gap year to see the world. Currently living my best life in Australia in a long-distance relationship with the best boyfriend ever who is waiting for me in Europe. When back in 10 months, we are gonna start planning moving in together. I am proud of myself. I'm missing a leg. So, of course I practiced rolling off my back from the ground and balanced up onto my one remaining leg. Maybe it's just because I always did Aikido, which is really just the art of making yourself one with the mat. But I naturally just decided that would be cool as hell to be able to do. So, I can now. I attribute a lot of my ability to get around to my on-point balance and flexibility, which I developed as an ice hockey goalie. I won 5 out of 5 trivia nights on a cruise I went on with my extended family nearly 10 years ago. W2-person team with a near stranger who was getting annoyed that the university friends she was there with weren't taking it seriously enough, and we absolutely crushed it for the rest of the cruise. Felt good, man. We had a safe at work. It was fairly beefy, about the size of a washing machine. We never used it and we lost the key. I grabbed some lockpicks and spent about 20 minutes on it before it clicked open. We called a local locksmith out to ask them to make us a new key. They took a look at the safe, said sure they could make a new key, but make sure we don't shut the door before they get the key made, as picking that lock would be a nightmare for them. I had this grabber thing that old people use to pick things up, and on the end of it were 2 black pads used to grip stuff. My roommate and I were getting drunk one morning after deciding to skip work when he randomly decided to throw a goofball at me from across the room. I raised that grabber and snatched the thing out of midair, perfectly between the 2 pads. We both just stood there silent, in awe of what just happened. Not quite as out there as some of these, but I've mastered the art of perfectly timing microwave settings to avoid the infuriating cold center. Whether it's leftovers or frozen meals, they come out evenly heated every single time without fail. Friends actually call me the microwave whisperer. I suspect it's a mix of intuition and too many late nights fine-tuning my technique while half awake in college. I can accurately guess the weight of powder down to 0.5 grams when measuring. To clarify, since I can already imagine the responses without the XT, spent 3 years in a lab where nearly every single day I had to weigh out precise grams. After a while with the grams, I was pretty much getting it spot on every time. By the end, right every time. Helps a lot now with my cooking role on the time front. High school baseball. I made varsity as a freshman. Our team traveled to our first game. We knew we were facing a pitcher that was already drafted by the Atlanta Braves and threw 90 miles per hour. I was the only one who not only got the only hit, but even made contact with a single pitch. The seniors showed me nothing but respect after the game, and I was the talk of the school for the next few days. I have a weird luck where basically I'm a failed hipster. I liked XYZ before it was cool. My luck, I learned it XYZ existed and discounted it as being weird and niche immediately before it suddenly became cool. Bitcoin. The Room. Old Greg. Google, I acutely did like Google though. But my folks were all about Metacrawler. I forget the rest, but you get it. I'm good at picking behaviors in people and breaking the news that maybe they are fucking themselves and everyone else. I just calls them how I sees them. But I also genuinely care that people have good outcomes, so it's usually well received. Except by my old boss who lost me, and to other staff, and I broke down exactly how much the business was taking advantage of them. I worked for 30 different restaurants over a 7-year period. Sometimes I was fired for pointing out glaring issues, and others I just quit when I felt I was being taken advantage of. Most kitchens do take advantage, and it's low pay. I suppose it was also a sort of mid-career crisis, as I ended up finding my culinary dream job in Portland, and everything is kosher now. I've got a really good awareness of what time it is. I find it pretty easy to guess the exact time before checking my phone. This even goes down to when I accidentally hit next on a song or podcast. I can get back to exactly where I was most of the time. I also have about 200 podcast subscriptions, but I'm not sure if that is a flex, or I just need constant company. It doesn't matter what time of year it is or where the location is. If I'm in the car, I can get a prime parking spot within 2 minutes. Christmas Eve at the mall, boom. Right at the front near the entrance we want. Dinner downtown at 6 p.m. Free street parking within 1 block of the restaurant. It's the only evidence I've personally seen that magic actually exists. I have 3 college degrees and started a career that keeps me busy. But I made bank by consulting for the music industry. I've contributed to countless major albums since the late 1980s. In the 1990s, artists started seeking me out and life hasn't been the same since. About 10 years ago I hit the lottery literally. I have an uncanny knack for remembering people, even people that I see very briefly. For example, I once saw a guy on the escalator in LA, and I said, "Hey, did you move here from Vienna?" He was flabbergasted. I had walked past him on the street once while visiting there, and 5 years later I recognized him. I was sent to a couple of those super abusive troubled teen programs in Utah when I was younger, and have been doing advocacy work against the troubled teen industry for years. My work helped contribute to the closure of the wilderness therapy program that nearly killed me and left me disabled last year. My innate ability to fix any problem quickly, it's like a freaky superpower. I can troubleshoot almost anything and people love it, and I love the reaction. I've tried everything. I've done it all. Then I managed to fix it in seconds. Love it. I put it down to logical reasoning. I'm a Vulcan at heart. In 2019, 2 weeks before the Oscars, I wrote a comment on a screenrun video about the movie Parasite that it was going to win Best Foreign Film, Best Director and Best Picture, and lo and behold, I ended up being right. Every now and then, I mention it to people whenever the askers are brought up. And remember to check for a nuptial cord after baby's head delivered e-kick, or that I was a state high jump champion for several years in a row in high school, making my competition cry on occasion. I dropped out of college and lied on my resume to get my first job. It's been 8 years since, and nobody has batted an eye whenever I changed jobs. Third company now. At this point, I'm convinced nobody is gonna bother asking for a degree from someone with 8 years of experience. I really shouldn't be proud of this, but I'm a good manipulator. I'm very good at observation, especially when it comes to finding out what people's buttons are. I can find out the exact way to get you into doing what I want, even though we've barely had one conversation. I play all video games on the hardest difficulty first time through. If the difficulty is locked, I beat it, then do it again on the hardest. I also do it on games that don't even have an achievement for it, and will never, and have never dropped the difficulty down. I'm completely self-taught in 3D art and have worked in the games industry for about 13 years now. Occasionally have been asked to visit universities to speak in front of game art students, who always ask me what uni I studied at, and I get to tell them I didn't. I'm both highly empathetic, but also extremely analytical. I think I inherited both traits from each of my parents. It's weird because I can sense and understand the emotions and feelings of people around me. I don't really have strong emotions myself.